right, hello! I thought I would give myself a challenge. Sorry, the dogs are barking. And see how many different ways I can alter these mid-century modern acetate furniture lamp pieces that are new in my shop. So this is a pack unopened. I have written down 15 ideas, but we'll see if we can do even more. So some might build on each other. But just looking for, you know, some inspiration here, because you're looking at these clear acetate pieces and go, what do I do with those? So let's show you what to do with them. So you get quite a few in this pack, and I can't remember the actual count. I want to say 20, 30 here. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27 pieces. I think that's, if I counted it right, in this pack. And I'm always a fan of female form, faces, things like that. But I kind of want props for the imagery on my art journal pages. I want the, props that these women can be sitting on, leaning on, be part of. Oh, that made me think of another idea, actually. Let me write that one down. Just a second. So that is why I made these clear for that purpose, because you could do many, many things with them. So there's couches in here. There are lamps, and these are all mid-century modern inspired. There's hanging lamps like this one here. It's one of my favorite pieces in here. There's these chairs, some wooden chairs, some really funky chairs, little table. So all kinds of really cool pieces. All right, so the first one, and I have done this actually several times so far on different projects. I'm working on a journal right now, is as simple as placing a piece of collage paper behind it. So this is just in my stash. Let me rip a piece of it off. You could use any type of collage paper. I like vintage book text behind this, but any piece of collage paper would work. Oh, let's see, what would be super special with this behind it? I'm going to say this piece, but I've done that recently. So maybe this table, because it's a really big open piece. Let's see what we've got on here. Now is the time to advertise. Oh, I love that actually a lot. So it'd be like that. I think I might have to do that instead of, this is what I was going for here. So it was a little less obvious. But I kind of like, now is the time to advertise. I don't know why, but I do. So all I do, glue stick, woohoo, glue stick. And there is a right side to these, but it's really subtle. The right side, the black print looks a little darker, but to be honest with you, you could use them either way. So if there's a chair, for example, that's, facing this direction here, and you don't like it that way, you can flip it over that way. It's not really going to matter much. So I am just going to add some glue stick, and this does not show through, at least when I've done it so far, maybe depending on the collage paper that you're using. But for me, it has not really shown through in what I've been doing. So I'm just really rubbing this on. Now there's a couple ways you could put this on here. I could have went over it first and traced it with a pencil and then cut it out. and then placed it on top of there. There's the way that I did it. Let me get my scissors here. I'll get my fussy cutter scissors. And just cut it out. And that is it. I mean, that is as simple as this first technique gets. And I will definitely use this in an art journal page. The other thing that's really nice when you put the collage paper behind it, so if you were going to use this as a prop where, you know, one of your female images were from behind it, and I might layer on this one with that here in a little bit, you wouldn't see the portion kind of behind the table because it's going to be hidden by this paper. And you might have to go back on these edges here. I'm going to keep that just in case I use it for something else. On the edges here and re-glue them down, because sometimes the glue doesn't go all the way to the edge. Just doing these edges up here. All right, glue those table legs down. Oh, that was intelligent. I just ripped off my paper. Very carefully put that on there until that glue dries. And I think that, so I didn't get any glue on those ends of those legs. Be gentle with that one until it dries. And that is it for the first way to alter it. Look how cool that looks. Totally unique. And no one else ever in the world has one of these just like that. So that was number one, just with collage paper behind. So I'm gonna cross that off. All right, so the next one, I'm gonna get one that is decorative here. So I'm gonna do this one, I think, that has a bunch of parts in it. So I'm gonna use just my Posca markers and I'm going to paint right on here. So let's do this in oranges and pinks, I think, is the color I might go for here. Now, you just have to make sure you set it aside to dry completely because, you know, it is plastic and acrylic paint. And now, you could go over this with clear gesso. So with many of these things that you're painting on, definitely, you know, you might want to put a layer of clear gesso. That would give the paint something to stick to. But I've painted on these with my markers and it's not come off, it's actually stayed on. You might want to go over it with a layer of matte medium on top of it just to really hold it down, but I have not had any issues so far. You just really want to make sure it's dry before you start, you know, moving your fingers around it. And see how simple and fun, and that's going to give the whole mid-century modern vibe. All right. So I think what I'm going to do, just so you aren't sitting here watching me do this, I'm going to fast forward through this part and then I will come back in normal time to show you the finished painted piece. All right, so I'm careful with it because it's not dry. I was very messy when I did it. I'm not really in the lines, but I don't really care. But look how fun that is. And so this is the other thing too. You can use many of these things together. So I could take that, then place it over it. So you have the pops of the paper underneath of it. Now that's like really cool. So maybe when that's dry, I kind of like it because then you can see, you know, if you put this on an art journal page, you can see what the background is. It's peeking out from behind. And I just think that makes really interesting work. So there is that one. I'm going to put it up here to dry. And I can always, where the lines are, go back over it with my black marker and just clean them up. And I might do that so it's not so messy. But anyway, number 2 down. All right, so this next one, I'm going to have to put some clear gesso on a piece. So I will put it on here, but then we'll come back to this one. So let me just put some clear gesso here. And I don't know if this, so I'm going to put pan pastels on this. I have not tried that, so it may work, it may not work, but you know, the pan pastel I don't think will stick to this acrylic, so I'm going to give it a base to stick to. So we will put that one aside. All right, so this next one, let me get out some alcohol ink. This one is, besides the collage, my favorite. And these were made for alcohol ink. So I'm going to do, I think, one of these little flower pots. Let's see what else here. What else do I have? Maybe this one. Let's see. Do I want to use that for anything? Yeah, let's do these two. So I'm going to kind of keep, I think, maybe not. I'm going to say I was going to keep it the same theme, but maybe not. I think we're going to go green. Green and yellow. Let's see what other greens I have. Maybe this green. It's got 3 colors here. And all you do is put it on, and you can be, you know, more deliberate. You can, you know, use these as a paint dauber. So like if you had a piece like this chair, you could come in here and make these cushions one color and these cushions another color. That is totally doable. I'm going to kind of just let these blend a little bit and see what kind of cool designs I get. So I've got this just on a different piece of deli paper. I'm going to keep these colors out in case I want them. So it can dry. Now this will take a bit. I usually do these overnight. I'll do a bunch and then just set them aside and let them dry overnight. So we'll come back once this is all dried. There is a bit more on here than I kind of care. So I'm just going to dab some of that off. Okay, let me set this aside. We'll come back to those. Okay, let's see. Let's do, I'm going to do this one. And we are going to, and I haven't done these, so hopefully they stick. I just thought this would be kind of fun. Now, this is going to take a little bit because I'm going to have to kind of cut these to shape as much as I possibly can. Because I'm going to come in here and use the rub-ons for the cushions. So, trying to think of the best way to do this. Let me see here. kind of like that pink. So if I just come in here and use that as a guide, if anyone has a better way to do this, let me know. So if we use that side, alright, so I'm going to do this first piece, but then, and I can kind of see underneath of here when I've got that piece on. This is going to take a little bit, so maybe I'll do a couple of the first pieces here. But how cool is this going to look when it's on here? And come back when I'm done with the whole thing, because again, this is going to be kind of tedious. And I need to cut off some of this top. And it's not going to be exact, but close enough. Alright, fingers crossed. This sticks on here. I don't know if it will. And I love little putsy things like this. They just end up being such a cool looking thing. Oh, that looks nice. So I can also too, when I'm done with this, go back over with like a black Sharpie or my black pen and outline everything, but that went on there right now. So I'm going to do the rest of it. So it's going to take me a little bit because I'm going to do some funky shapes and like this outside piece here. So I will come back when I have all of the rub-ons. So this is my lace rub-on on this piece, and I'll share it with you. Alright, so my clear gesso is dry. Let's see if the pan pastels work. So I have them here to the side. I don't know what color. I think I might go for this chartreuse green. Ooh, looks like it's gonna work. Now I might have to seal this on here because, like with pen, even on paper, pan pastels will move. So I have some Spectra Fix that I can use on here, but it looks like it's covering actually pretty well. Now I'm going to have a lot of blending here. So let's do a little bit of this brown. Just going to blend those two together a little bit. And just like with many of these, maybe come back in, you know, after the Spectra Fix and go over those lines again to make them pop just a little more. If you want, don't have to. So I'm curious. So on the back side, so here, actually this is what would be best for these. Put your clear gesso on the back, paint the back, and then you have to seal it, but then that's the side you glue down, so then you don't have to worry about going over it with your lines. See, if I was thinking, let's get a little bit of green into this a little bit more. And then for my cushions, I think they need just to be orange. Maybe with a bit of pink. Alright, so let's see what that looks like on this side. So that's what that looks like. And I could come in on here with maybe my white acrylic paint pen and highlight the stripes of the pillows. But that looks kind of cool. So that worked. Sweet. All right, I'm going to put away these and then we'll go on to the next one. All right, let's do the next one. I want a piece that, maybe this one. Maybe this one. This one. This one. Let's see, what do I have on my list here? Yeah, let's do this one here. So you want one that has a little bit of an open space here, but we're going to stamp with Stays On in a stamp. I think, and I don't know if these are dried out. I don't use Stays On ink that much. I think that perhaps just if you're careful with maybe Versamark ink and let it dry completely, I would not put a heat gun to this because it will warp it. Maybe that would work. I don't know. I know Stays On will. So I'm going to stamp the back side of this. And so let's see. Can you see that? Subtly. You see that? It's not really bright. I should have went in maybe with a darker ink. I mean, you can see it. So that's what that would look like. So I might have to come back to this piece and maybe paint on it. I don't know. Maybe put some, after this, I mean, it dries pretty fast. Put some clear gesso back here and paint on it with some gouache, maybe, just to have that look. So maybe this will be one of those pieces we do multiple things, but that worked. So like, I think it'd be really cool, like on this really big light piece or that really big couch, this couch, because you have a lot of space there. Like if you had a really cool stamp with letters or words or something on it, that would be a really cool one, because you could put instant pattern on that one there. So I'm going to set that aside for now, and maybe we'll come back to that one. So let me put these up. Okay. So we have, let's see, how about doing one with tissue paper? I've got these lights actually. Let's do one of the lamps, like this piece here, and I'll put tissue paper up on the top part. So let me find, this is one of my tissue papers I have in the shop. That might look kind of cool. And there's areas in here that I can use. Let's see. Beecham's toothpaste. Kind of like that word here. Toothpaste, shilling. I kind of like that area right there. It's in the middle, but well, okay. Get some matte media. Actually, I could probably use this with a glue stick. Be faster. All right, I'm going to put this on the back side, I believe. And I am just going to put it on the shade. Now it is going to cover up all of the shade because, and now I could cut it to shape here, so it's just the size of the shade without the clear plastic, but you know, that takes too much work for me. So this is similar to the collage paper, but with tissue paper. So could not cut it or rip it very evenly. So it's a funky looking shade, but that is my lampshade, and I can come back in maybe around the edge there, maybe put some glitter. Let's do that actually. Let's do that. So let me get some glitter. Let's do this glitter to kind of go with this theme. Let me get a piece here. And I am just going to use good old glossy accents for this. My glossy accents is always clogged. And I am going around the outside, kind of using that guide of the edge of the shade. And since I have this out, I might do an entire piece with glitter, because I'm kind of digging the glitter. Okay. This looks really cool. I'm just using my paintbrush right here to remove some of the excess glitter, and because this is acrylic, it's sticking, but how cool does that look? That looks really neat. So I am going to set this over here to the side and let that dry. That kind of makes me want to glitter an entire piece. So, you guys down for that? Let's glitter. Is that even on my list? I did not even have that on my list. So, let's see. This one would be really cool glitter because we can do those pieces. So let me get some more glitter, maybe some blue, pink. What do we have here? I think blue and pink will be good. I really wish I had some black glitter, but I do not. I have black embossing powder, which will not work. So I might have to look. I might have to color those in. All right, so let's make the chair blue and the inside pieces pink. So just like with the other one, I'm going to come in here. Actually, I'm going to use this and make it two-toned here, so I might get a different color blue and make this a two-tone blue. And I am just applying the glossy accents to the top. Alright, so we'll do that layer first. So this might have to be done in some layers, just so I don't start mixing the glitters while one is dry. So I'll show you this step, but then I'll do the rest of it. Oh my goodness, can I pick it up? That would be wonderful. I know they make stuff that you can put on here so it doesn't stick. but that requires too much work. Okay, so that's the first layer, and then I will come back and I'll do this probably in a different color blue, and then I'm going to come into these areas and do pink, so I'll show that piece when that is done. Alright, since we have this stuff out, I am going to do some with rusting powder, because I think it'd be cool to have a rusty table, so I'm using this table, or maybe I'll do a lamp. Oh, what do I want to do? No, we'll do this table. So I'm just going to apply, oh, I have some matte medium already out here. I'm going to do it just on this tabletop here. So I am going to paint this matte medium on. Okay, put my rusting powder on. And then let me get my vinegar out. I think this is vinegar. Let me smell it. It is vinegar. And spray with vinegar. And I'll let it do its magic. Okay. Okay, I am back, and let's continue on. So this piece that I stamped earlier, I did put a very thin layer of clear gesso on it, so I'm going to use, these aren't exactly gouache, but they're close enough. I use these constantly all the time. And I am going to paint, going to use actually the shape of the stamped image for where I'm painting, and we'll see if this works. So kind of back to keeping in these kind of mid-century modern theme. Trying to see my pattern here of how I want to paint this. And it looks like it's taking the paint, which is good. Trying not to paint on the outside of the chair. I am actually going to come in here on the seats, and I'm going to do some more rub-ons, I think. So I probably didn't need to paint that section. Let's do some of this green. Ooh, I love that green. Oh, this looks kind of cool now. And again, I don't need to paint the inside of the chair because I think I am going to cover it, but just in case I decide not to, that way it's already done. And I'm going to paint the base. Is this color? I want brown, I think. I think this is brown. What color is this? It's a dark blue. Yep. Alright, that'll work. And I didn't get as much gesso down here, I can see, because it's just repelling the plastic. So that definitely happens where you don't have enough gesso. And because I want these extreme, let's give them pink wheels. There we go. Alright, so I'll set that aside to dry, but it worked. It worked with the stamp, so a way to embellish your stamped images with gouache paint. I would assume any sort of watercolor paint would work, given you put the clear gesso on it. All right, so I also gessoed this piece, and I'm going to use stencil. So this is another idea. That we're going to use. So stencils with these. So I'm marking off my list here. Paint with stencils. Okay. So I think the trick to this would be to find a stencil that has a relatively small pattern to it. So this one is new. I haven't tried this one yet. And actually fits perfectly on here. I am probably going to go ahead and just stencil over the whole thing and come back on these images here and maybe paint over them a bit. So I think I want a hardcore pink couch. And I'm obsessed with this Venetian rose pink color, so I already have it here on my desk, so I'm going to use it for the purposes of this. Let me just clean off my paint tube. Okay, and I just use cosmetic sponges. That's kind of my go-to. I can buy them in bulk. And I'm over here on this side tapping my paint off, just so I don't have a ton of paint on here. And I am trying to stay kind of within these lines here, because I can go back afterwards. So these small pieces here, so this is with these cosmetic sponges, we can cut them down. So in places like this that you have a really skinny spot, I can come right in here with this. And same with this, and I'm trying to see where this is here. And I won't do these pieces because I think I will leave them either plain or as wood. So, can you see that? So it worked. That looks kind of cool. So on the back side, so I'm learning if you do most of these on the wrong side, quote wrong side, then the black print shows up beautifully. So you can see what that looks like on that side. So it looks like a really funky couch. So then I can go into these areas here where it looks like it's ripped up and go in and embellish it. I can go in and paint these here. I might have to try to find like a brown and make it like a, you know, brown wood furniture. So that is that. I'm going to set that aside to let that dry. So coming back to my glitter one, so this is the glitter piece. I got all the different colors in here, so I waited for one glitter thing to dry and added another one. And then the other thing too, I just have some wax paste here, and I kind of went over the edges here. I might do it a little bit more down here on the base and just kind of framed up with the gold. Same with my rusted piece. I did the same thing. I might come in and just define the base a little more, maybe not, because that's kind of a really cool rustic looking piece. All right, let's do this one here. Let me so we are going to try crackle paste. So let me get crackle, and I just want clear crackle. And there's various brands of it. The one that I like the most, actually, they don't really make it anymore, I don't think, which is the Thin-A-Bear one. So I use it sparingly. Let me get a palette knife. So it's best to apply this crackle with a palette knife, and I'm just going to come in here and I am going to crackle. I did put a layer of gesso on here just to make sure that the crackle had something to stick with, because I've not used this on acetate before, so I wasn't sure if it would come off, and it still may lift off after this dries. but you know, this is all about experimentation to see if this works. So with a palette knife, the thing that I like with Crackle is you don't have an even layer, and so you get different types of crack, thin ones, thick ones, and they vary a little bit. So I'm going to do that to make it look like cracked glass, I think. So I'm going to let that dry. That'll be a couple of hours for that to dry. Let's see, what shall we do next? Let's see. All right, this piece I've been waiting to do something with. Do I want to do that one or this one? Let's see here. I'm going to use washi tape, and for some reason this chair is calling me for the washi tape. So I'm going to use this chair. So let me grab some of my washi tapes and I'll be right back. Alright, so I opted actually for just a couple of rolls, and this is one of my newest washi's, the Stitch It Up Sewing Inspired Stamp Die Cut Washi. And this way, because what I want is like a patchwork kind of look, and this has so many different colors and patterns to it. It's not like one plain looking washi, so I thought this would be good for this. And then I got this one because I thought maybe I could use this as an accent piece to it, but I don't know, maybe not. Maybe I won't even go there. So I am just going to rip off a couple of these so I have them ready. So these are all based off of some scans of some vintage sewing pieces that I have. It's a great washi, and again, to, you know, have a stamp like this one. I love this one. Oops, sorry. I just think that's a really cool one. And then I'll get some black here. All right. These are all my samples. So again, this is going to be a little putsy. Maybe I'll show you at the beginning kind of how I'm going to go about this. But I am just going to cut. So the other thing too I noticed when I was doing this with the oh my goodness, with the rub-ons, if you place, let me grab, if you place the rub-on, place the die cut behind, and it's hard on the camera, you can't really see, but if you place the die cut behind there and put it up to the light, you can see it through it. And then I just took my white paint marker, my white Posca, and lightly outline that shape. And if you work fast and you cut it out right away, you can remove it because it hasn't quite dried yet, so you can remove that white paint marker, and it gives you kind of an idea on the shape. The thing with the washi tape here is I can layer these on top of each other so they don't have to be exactly perfect for my spot. And if you find that your washi isn't sticking the best, because sometimes, you know, washi is meant to be removed, taken up, replaced, just put a layer of glue stick down as you're building up these layers. So I am going to trim this little corner up. And then I'm going to keep doing this on this piece, and it's going to hopefully look like a kind of patchwork quilted chair, which I think will look kind of cool. So let me do all of this off camera, so you're not sitting here watching me do this. And I will be back once I have it completely done. So you can see I'm just going to layer, 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 and that should look kind of cool. I'll be back.